Hey everyone, welcome to this Unifill AI tutorial. Today, I'm really excited to walk you through a new and powerful feature called Loop All Action. This feature allows you to input data from an Excel file, which will automatically populate the actions for various users. It's super useful if you have repetitive tasks, like filling out forms for multiple people. So, let's dive in and see how it works. First, I'll start by opening the Unifill AI Chrome extension. You'll see the familiar interface, and from here, I'll click on the Start Workflow button to begin recording the workflow. Now, as I go through my actions, I'll be typing into a form, filling out the usual fields like full name, address, city, state, phone number, and email. Each of these inputs is being tracked by the extension in real time. Once I've finished recording these actions, I'll stop the recording by clicking on the Stop button. And just like that, the extension will display a list of all the actions I just performed, so I can see everything laid out nicely. Next up, I'll show you an Excel sheet that contains a list of user information, which we are going to use to fill in the form, one by one, through the extension. This sheet has multiple rows for different users, so this is where the magic happens when we loop the actions. It's a time saver. Before I run the workflow, though, it's always a good idea to clean up any unnecessary actions that might have been recorded. This helps streamline the process and reduces workflow time. So, I'll go through the actions and remove the ones I don't need, carefully deleting them one by one. This step is really helpful to make sure everything runs smoothly. Now, we move on to an important step, matching the action fields with the headers from the Excel sheet. I'll show you how this works with one action first. I'll click on the action, check its field, and make sure it matches the corresponding header from the Excel sheet. This is a crucial step because if the headers don't match exactly, the data won't populate correctly when we run the workflow. I'll do this quickly for all the actions, speeding up the video a bit to save time. Remember, the headers in both the extension and the Excel sheet must match perfectly, no typos, no extra spaces, or things won't work as expected. If you encounter any issues, this is the first thing to double check. Once that's sorted, there's one more step before we can loop the actions. It's super important to add the initial navigation URL at the very start of the workflow. Selecting Navigate by URL, and then using a variable to change the website URL. This step ensures that every time the workflow starts, it knows which web page to open. Now, we're ready for the exciting part, looping the actions. I'll click on the Loop button, and here I can specify how many times I want to loop the workflow based on the number of users I have in the Excel file. After that, I'll upload the Excel file into the extension, and this is where Unifill AI works its magic. It will automatically populate each action with the corresponding user data from the Excel file, one after the other, for each person. At this point, I like to double check everything to make sure it's set up correctly. I'll go over the actions one more time to verify that everything is mapped properly and that I haven't missed any details. This helps avoid any errors during the workflow execution. Once everything looks good, and I'm confident that I haven't missed anything, we're ready to run the workflow. So, I'll go ahead and click on Run Workflow, and you'll see Unifill AI start filling out the form with the data from the Excel sheet. It'll complete the process for each user, one by one. To save time in the video, I'll fast forward this part a bit, but rest assured that it's working through each row of the Excel file. As you can see, the Loop All Action feature in Unifill AI is an absolute game changer when it comes to automating repetitive tasks. Whether you are filling out forms for multiple users, processing data, or handling any other task that involves the same actions for different sets of information, this feature makes it incredibly fast and efficient. Instead of spending hours manually repeating the same steps, Unifill AI does all the heavy lifting for you. It takes a task that could easily take an hour or more and completes it in just a fraction of the time. Not only does this save you time, but it also reduces the chance of errors that can happen when you're doing things manually. Thanks for watching, and happy automating.